Hi, I'm Alicia. Today we are in Whitsett in the northern region of British Columbia to visit a childcare program that is doing amazing work in supporting children's behaviors through relationships. The early years are an important period of growth and learning, and strong relationships can help us model skills for children such as empathy, building meaningful connections, and regulation skills. The relationships we have with ourselves, the other staff in the center, families, and children help us build vibrant learning ecosystems where everyone has something to teach and everyone has something to learn. Today, we'll see all of the different ways that educators use those relationships to support the children in their care. Let's go see excellent relationships in action.
A whole lot of things makes this center special. We have amazing staff, we have amazing children, we have amazing families, and I know one thing that is really important to us is our relationship with each other, with the children and with our families.
And how do you come to build those relationships?
A lot of openness, a lot of silliness, a lot of tears, and a lot of laughter. I think it's one of those things that we like to just do organically. There's no magic wand for it. You know, it doesn't always come easy. We have to be able to have those hard conversations with our families, especially when it comes to children's behaviors, our diversity, and the things that we want versus the child's needs. So being able to be resilient enough to have those conversations with our families, I think, has made a big difference.
And you mentioned children's behaviors. So how do you think the relationships within the program impact children's behaviors?
You know, the children have to be able to trust us. And if they don't trust us, then, you know, we're going to see a whole lot of different things happening within the center. And also behaviors comes with trusting people so much too. You know, we become their second home.
We should build trust with children and their families right from the start. Taking the time to get to know the children and their families once they enter our programs is a great way to establish a solid foundation and partnership.
So most of it is having those conversations with the parents. We really want to be able to get to know the child first, and in order for us to do that, we need to ask the parents those questions, sit with the parents and ask them what they think we should know about their child to help support them best. So when a child first registers with our facility, we do have a form that we ask the families to fill out, and it's get to know your child. So it's a 2-pager, lots of questions, their likes, their dislikes, even bedtimes, things they like to eat, how do they like to sleep, do they have a favorite blanket. So when the child first registers, in the family, we try to get to know them through that process first, then ask the families questions that a few days may go on, things that we notice. It'd be one-on-one conversations with the families, as well as phone calls if need be.
And for the children, why do you think that's so important that you get to know them? And how does that make them feel knowing that you know these little things about them?
For myself personally, I think of it, if I was going into a new environment, I would want that person to know about me.
Absolutely.
to feel comfortable. We have to be able to have a child-led program, and if we don't know anything about that child, then we're not really being child-led. So it's really important for not just the caregiver, but the child as well. And it's I think the comfort for the parents, knowing it's an honor for us to have children in our facility, in our care. The parents are putting that trust into us. We thank them for the services, right? Not the other way around.
While it's important to build relationships with the families and children in our care, it's equally as important to get to know the people we work with. This includes collaborating and learning how we communicate most effectively with each other.
We don't necessarily have to all be best friends with each other, but we have to be able to respect each other enough to get along on the job. Open with each other, the openness, we can tease each other in the morning at morning coffee, we can tease each other midday. The laughing and the joking has helped a lot, and that was all part of our relationship building.
We have built bonds. We've built those tight relationships. We all know each other. we can feed off each other without words being said. And even when it comes down to constructive criticism, we'll take it because we need it, right? We can all learn from each other, we can all grow, and it's important, always.
It's like one big family, like when we come to work, and it's something that I don't think I would have in any other workplace.
The children, when they notice our relationship, it's just like, what? Like, I'll tell the older kids, I'm like, do you know Karina's my mom? She's my mommy. And then they're just like, what? No, she's not. She's Karina. And I'm like, no, she's my mom. You're so close with all of your coworkers, and it just creates that positive energy that the children need because they feed off of your energy a lot. And it could affect their day-to-day, especially with their own personal life. So having a positive environment for them to come to every day really impacts how their emotions are throughout the day.
Nurturing interpersonal relationships is key to building a collaborative program, but taking care of ourselves is just as important. Childcare professionals spend their days working with children, families, community partners, and other staff members, but it's important to address overwhelm and fatigue before we become burnt out.
Self-care is really big for me, and if I notice a staff is stressed or not feeling well, very intuitive to that. Even if it's something where I don't need to know what's going on, but I see that there is a problem, then just go and take the time off. Make sure you're there for yourself in a good way, showing up in a good way, and a big part of that is self-care.
What does having the elders in the program do for the children?
There are grandmas of the program. They bring in the language, they bring in the culture, they bring in the do's and don'ts, where they can give those gentle reminders to the children to correct their behavior at such a respectful manner, more so than we can, because they play that grandma role. The relationship that the children develop with our elders is amazing.
It's nice that our young ones learn early. That's what Mom taught us when we were little kids. She made sure that we spoke the language. This program is good for our kids in the community. And they're very lucky to have something like this. We never did in our age. We never did anything like this.
It sets my mind at ease, I can drop my kids off and know that they're safe and happy and go to work and get my job done. So I know I can depend on them to keep my children safe and happy.
It's like every child that has come in here, it's like my own child. They get all that same respect as I would with my own children.
They're not just here sitting on their phones and babysitting children. They're connecting with the children, they're getting to know them, and they're recognizing the children.
The relationship that our kids have with the staff, it makes them so comfortable to be here every day. They know that they're getting taken care of. If something happens, they're going to be right there. They're not just there for the children, but they're there for the parents and the families. I think spending a lot of time with the staff and even taking a couple minutes, dropping the kids off and watching the atmosphere, watch how the staff interacts with the kids. It's a really good way to be comfortable with letting your child go. Like it's hard separating from your child when they're so young.
When the parents are buying in and recognizing that, okay, my child is spending all this time in this space, I should be invested somewhat too, I think the kids' energy just sort of feeds off of that.
Although we may have strong bonds with the children and staff in our programs, children's interactions with one another may end in conflict from time to time. The relationships that we have with the children in our care can help us resolve those conflicts.
My grandson and a few of his friends, the behaviors that come up with them is they will fight and then they will raise their voices. But at the same time, like after observing them and watching them, it was like they were just fighting when we were outside. And then we'll get inside and the first thing they have to do is like wash their hands before we sit down and have a meal. So they'll eat lunch together, and then my grandson will be like, this spot is for so-and-so and this spot is for so-and-so. And they're like, yeah, they're my bros. Yeah, like, bro, come and sit down. So we're like, they were just fighting. outside and you see the different behaviors.
I guess that's them like learning each other's likes and dislikes that way.
I think that we know that of them, so we're like, yeah, they fight, and yeah, their voices get raised, yeah, they say something that they shouldn't have said. Sometimes we just have to take a step back and just let them try and figure it out amongst themselves before stepping in, because that's that learning piece for them. So if we stepped in every single time, they will never know how to figure out things themselves.
I think it's a big thing too is when not forcing children to apologize to each other, for them to learn to do it on their own. So like their friends, they have a big fight, they're bickering and everything, and then just to observe, and if it gets out of hand, then step in. But if it doesn't, and then you'll totally see the children, they'll be like, I'm sorry. You know, that's such an amazing thing to see, because you're not forcing them, they're doing it completely on their own. If you force a child to say, I'm sorry, then it doesn't mean anything to them at all.
Understanding children's behaviors and building strong relationships with the children in our care can allow us to partner with families to share observations and progress that their child is making.
Mom came in, first time ever in childcare. I think Mom did know something was wrong, but never got the help for it. And when she did put her into our program, the first day we knew. And I think Mom was taken aback by that and just upset. You know, she didn't want others to see her daughter like this. We all kind of took it upon ourselves to have that one-to-one talk with Mom and, you know, let her know she's supported. And it's okay to ask questions, and we're here to help. And Charmaine actually took the first step, and that day took her out into the boot room and had that conversation with her. And it was a hard one. But since then, we've helped her with the doctor progress and therapists and everything. And yeah, like it's been a challenge, but by the time she left our program, like, we miss her, you know. We've gotten to know all her strengths. Throughout that whole time, Mom, we were with her, you know, we made sure we were there for her and made sure she had everything she needed.
When we build strong relationships and remain curious about children's behaviors, we can build quality, inclusive childcare programs where all children can fully participate and have access.
Inclusive childcare to me means all children have equal rights and opportunity to be participating and involved at all times.
Regardless of needs or family background or you know, who might be raising the child. Daycare includes you know, families and children that may be experiencing different traumas or different challenges or different needs, different successes, and just sort of having everybody involved in just every capacity, whether it's sitting at the table and eating their lunch together or doing some of these things that happen outside or out on the land, just being involved basically all together.
As childcare professionals, we have the ability to make lasting change in children's and families' lives. Building inclusive childcare programs is key to ensuring all children and families feel respected, safe, and supported.
The field is always changing. We're always learning, we're always evolving. And to keep up with the current news, don't get stuck where you are. Keep learning.
When children leave our program, I have the hopes and dreams that they know exactly who they are as a Wet'suwet'en person. They're going to have the wholesomeness to be able to live a successful life. We'd like them to feel loved, whether that's just welcoming them, you know, in our program, that feeling of happiness, and how that looks for each individual is going to be different. But as long as we approach it that way, I think is how I would love for them to feel.
Childcare programs contain all sorts of relationships, including those we have with the children, families, staff, and ourselves. Strong relationships are key to ensuring everyone in the program feels supported. This program in Whitsett models excellent collaboration and partnerships that foster a mutual understanding and respect for one another. We now invite you to consider the relationships in your program and think about what you would like to continue. And if there's any new strategies you would like to implement, give them a try. All children and childcare programs are unique, so building relationships that work best for you and the families in your care are key to supporting an inclusive childcare environment.